He said, my expectations were reduced to zero when I was 21. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. But the second thing you should know is that it is in your control. Ronald Reed came from the most humble, if not impoverished background that you can imagine. And even as an adult, he spent his entire career as a janitor and a gas station attendant. And when he died, he left millions of dollars to charity. And everyone was like, where the janitor has millions of dollars? Like, what in the world happened here? And the answer was he saved what little he could, $10 here, $20 there, maybe $100 here. He invested in the stock market. He left it alone for like 70 years, and that's it. If you have the right behavior, if you have the right mindset, you don't need much else to even achieve extraordinary returns over time. And when you realize that wealth is what you have versus what you want, and the wider that gap is, the worse you're going to feel. The narrower that gap is, the better you're going to feel. You can mix aspirations for wanting more with contentment with what you have and appreciation for what you have as well. The idea of being gracious and having gratitude for the world that we live in, for what we have rather than what we don't have. For me, it takes effort to do that. But every therapist, every psychologist would tell you how powerful gratitude is. And it sounds kind of mushy and wishy-washy. Like, how can that possibly be a thing? Nothing in psychology, I think, is more powerful than keeping your expectations in check and being gracious for what you already have. There's a great quote from Stephen Hawking, the great scientist who, of course, had ALS and had absolutely no control over his body. He could not even speak. He was in a wheelchair for almost his entire adult life. And he gave this interview with the New York Times several years before he died. And in the interview, he was talking about how unbelievably happy he was and how grateful he was to be able to do this research and how great his life is. And if there's any of us who have the right to complain about life, it's somebody like Stephen Hawking. If there's anyone who has the right to wake up and say, I was dealt an unfair hand in life, and I'm so jealous of you and me, it's him. And he wasn't. He was so happy. And he said, my expectations were reduced to zero when I was 21. And he said, everything else since then has been a bonus.
Oh,
And it just made him, in that dealing with that tragedy, made it much easier for him to exercise gratitude for what he did have.